Hey, True Believers, Englentine here, and it is time for the GABBY Awards. But this time we're not just doing 2019, we're doing the decade. Now, what are the GABBY Awards? Very simple. When my brother was in the channel, I was talking to him, I said, you know what? Comic books do not have a Razzies. So I said, we have to make the Razzies. And this is it. This is the comic book version of the RAZZIE Awards, where we award the worst comic books of the decade. And you get to pick them. That's how it works. We're going to be talking about the categories you put down in the comment section, what you think your votes for a specific category should be. You can vote on all of them. You can vote on a few of them. I don't count ballot stuffing, by the way, but otherwise, anything goes. And I'm going to be explaining each category as we go so you understand what you're voting for. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's get to it. The first category is Worst Fall from Grace Comic Book Creator. Now, this is somebody who used to be really good, and they were just on point. Every time they put something out, you were excited. But all of a sudden, for some reason, the last decade, they just haven't been able to live up to expectations. And mind you, we're only counting comic books. We're not talking about Twitter. We're talking about their work. The second category. This is Worst Fall from Grace comic book character, a comic book character that used to be interesting and fun and somebody you looked forward to, but all of a sudden, the writers, the artists, anything about them, they've just made them annoying. They've made them somebody who just is not the same as they used to be, and you just don't even want to hear from them anymore. Third category. They've overstayed their welcome because they're the most overused characters of all time, or at least the 2010s. These are characters that you could love. These might be good characters to you. You've seen them far too much. You used them way too much in the 2010s and would rather not see them so much in the 2020s. Category 4. The worst event, company event. Not a single title or family event. So this would have to be something that just takes up all of or most of a company's titles. There you go. Think something along the lines of War of Realms or Secret Empire or Civil War. Category 5. This is the worst storyline or single family crossover. So it could belong to one series, or it could be an event throughout a family of series. So like the Avengers, if they came together for an ultimate crossover, or the Bat family came together for an ultimate crossover, that would fit, as well as single storylines in a particular run of comic books. Category 6. Worst new ongoing series. Now, it doesn't matter if it got canceled soon. They intended it to be an ongoing series. They may have said, well, now it's only going to be 6 issues because they had to cancel it. That doesn't make it a miniseries, gang. That just means it was a failed ongoing series. Even if it's that, you could count that, but it just had to be intended to be an ongoing series. Category 7. Worst one-issue story. This could be a single issue of an ongoing series that is not part of a major storyline. This could be a one-shot. This could be an annual. This could be a graphic novel. So long as it's not a trade paperback. That's all we're looking. One issue, one story. Category number 8. Worst new miniseries, and it has to be an intended miniseries. It can't be something they said, well, this is going to be an ongoing series, and then canceled it because nobody wanted it and they wanted to save face. It could be 6 issues. It could be 12 issues. I understand in the past we called a maxi series. Just include it in the miniseries and forget about that. We'll actually talk, okay? I understand. But it could be, so long as it was an intended miniseries. Category number 9. Worst comic book movie. This is pretty self-explanatory. We've had quite a few. It doesn't matter if it's superhero, if it's based on Marvel, DC, or independent, whatever, so long as it started off being a comic book series, miniseries, one-shot, graphic novel, whatever, it is up for votes. The 10th category is Worst Comic Book Publisher. Overall, this publisher puts out the worst comic books, pound for pound, title for title. There you go. Category number 11. Worst Artist. Comics only. Once again, we're not voting for Twitter. We're voting for the work. Who just cannot seem to draw or cannot seem to do a good page layout? Who just doesn't seem that they shouldn't belong in the field? That's what we're going for. Who really needs to just go back and practice before they come back and make a comic book? Category number 12. Worst writer. Once again, not Twitter. Comic books. That's what we're voting on. And everything I said about the artist rings true here. Who just doesn't seem to be able to write a good comic? Category number 13. The worst independent comic book. Doesn't matter what publisher, so long as it's not Marvel and DC. That's what we're meaning. If it's not Marvel and DC, we count it as an independent. Category number 14. The worst Marvel comic book of the last decade. One-shot, miniseries, event, comic, whatever, ongoing series. Doesn't matter so long as Marvel Comics produced it and it's not a reprint. The 15th category is worst DC comic book. Same thing. One-shot, miniseries, ongoing. It doesn't matter so long as it was a comic book released by DC Comics and it wasn't a reprint. And finally, the 16th category. The absolute worst comic book of the last 10 years. From 2010 all the way up to 2019. What is the one thing you can point to, whether it's a one-shot, miniseries, graphic novel, once again, so long as it's not a reprint from a different decade, that you could look at and go, that, my friend, is the single worst thing I have ever read. Boom, let's get these nominations. So I'm going to write all these out in the description so you could just cut and paste and then write your nominations underneath or beside it, whatever. You could do 2 or 3. Don't do a freaking paragraph, though. Also, I do reserve the right to shut down any, actually people who try to be clever or stupid at doing this. Also, ballot stuffing. I had that happen once, and I'm not a big fan of it. Beyond that, just follow what I had said, and it's up to you guys, really. I mean, I'm going to put my vote in, obviously, but I'm really interested to see what you guys pick, to see if we're going to be eclectic, if it's going to be all over the place, or are we going to be basically voting for the same 5 or 6 things? Anyway, there you go, guys. Get to nominating, or at least picking the nominees, and we'll get to Anyway. I'll go through them, and the ones with the most votes, those get the nominations. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now, if you don't mind, here's a big thing. Share. Usually I'm asking to do a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, hit subscribe and the notification button. But mostly with this one, share it. Let's get more people involved than you could ever think possible. I would love to see the numbers of the first year we did this before YouTube started crashing my channel. But seriously, share this video out, please. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it this time. For the whole decade, man.